Welcome to Pre-Snap Look. My name's Bruce Badgley. That's Joe Santaliquito. Joe, we got a very special guest to talk about District 12 and District 1 football this week. Why don't you do the introduction?
Yes, the guru of EasternPAFootball.com, a very close friend of mine who does a fabulous job, and I've had the pleasure of watching him grow this website to be the authority of football on the eastern half of the state. Our dear friend, the gang is all here, Mr. Dave Mika.
Well, well, thank you for having me. I don't know which way I've been growing, if it's out or or what, but
Yeah, both of us, Dave.
As
Yeah,
you get older.
Why don't you talk a little bit about Eastern PA football, Dave? I guess probably the biggest growth this year is like our collaboration with the WPAL Blitz to become more statewide. But talk a little bit about, literally how, media relies so much on the information you provide for football here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, what's nice is one of the things I have is past scores and past schedules from, I think, 2006 to present. It's something that people really like. We're actually working on creating a page that you could, plug into schools, pick dates, and it's going to tell you the win-loss record, how many points were scored. We have all that data. So we're definitely going to utilize it. We added some more reporters, and that's going really good. We're trying to, cover as much as we can statewide, whether it's the top games or any games. We're trying to cover as many teams as we can. But it's been a much better year. It's been a little challenging with maybe some of the cancellations. Last week it kind of died down a little bit, and so far I haven't really seen any cancellations. So we'll see about that. But last year with the COVID and having to redo almost 600 schedules in 3 weeks was a really challenge. So I'm hoping for, as we all were, more of a normal season, which I think we got besides the cancellations. But hey, listen, it's been real exciting. I think the top teams, some of the teams that won state titles last year are still doing really well, and we'll touch on a little bit later in the show about some of these key matchups this weekend.
Yeah, one of the things that I know is, and I get it because whenever there might be an issue with EasternPAFootball.com, literally all the mainstream media just come pouring in on me and said, is the website down or whatever like that. Literally, it's all the TV, it's all the print media. They rely so much on your information. I mean, your master schedule list, all your scores. Mm-hmm. It's just incredible the amount of data that's out there, on EasternPAFootball.com, and how you can toggle through all the schedules. And now here with, SSPN, now we're multimedia. Now we've got talk shows, we've got live streams. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many different talk shows where it's, from District 112, Eastern PA area, or even in District 7. We have also some college with Penn State. And, I think it's just going to grow. We're going to add more shows as we go. And, I hope the fans are really enjoying, not only this, everything we could put out there for, for the fans.
Yeah, I hope Joe likes it. I mean, because this has been a lot. This has been a lot of fun for me. And Joe, talk a little bit about how your relationship got started with Eastern PA football and Dave and everything.
Well, first, and Dave remembers this. I used to call Dave Mike all the time.
If I had a
Listen,
nickel, I would be rich for every time someone called me that.
I used to poor Dave, because I'm like, here's the sweetheart of a man, and I'm like, yo, Mike, what's up? And he like I didn't exist. And I'm like, Dave, why is he blowing me off? Why is he? Well, because his name is Dave, you idiot, meaning me. And I'm like, okay, because I'm sure. And I was telling Dave, I said, remember it was the first 2 or 3 years we were together. Dave and I've known, what, 15 years, Dave? This has to be
Yeah.
about 15, 16 years.
Oh yeah.
Dave and I have known
With
each other.
the Maxwell Football Club.
Yeah, and the first couple of years, Captain Stunot over here, Captain Dummy. I'm like, yo, what's up, Dave? What's up, Mike? So,
Uh,
but I literally watched, very, very much to Dave's credit, I watched this site just blossom. It was getting, I think, when I first met Dave, somewhere in the five figures. It's since grown into, he's dealing with seven figures
yeah.
in terms of hits on that website. And if anybody who's interested in high school football, and there's certainly a large number that are, that's the site to go to. He has fantastic people there that do great work, with the exception of probably the guy that's talking right now. But I mean, really, it is legitimate. It is a legitimate smorgasbord of information in terms of schedules, in terms of records, in terms of stats and numbers and figures. And Dave somehow, some way, has his fingers on the pulse of everything. And it's a huge, gigantic area to keep track of, all the way down here in southeastern PA to the reaches of what, Dave? District.
We're doing everything
Four.
statewide just about now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, with Ian, doing District 7, but on Eastern PA, it's
Mhm.
District 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, and the interacts and non-PIAA teams. So basically, it's from Philly to Scranton out, by Harrisburg. So Eastern PA is a big area, and then you get Western, you throw in District 7. I mean, that's like almost the whole state. And it's really exciting. I'm glad that Ian and I are working together to help promote high school football. He does a tremendous job out there in the western part of the state. And, like I said, between Joe, you, the crew we have on Eastern PA, we try to put out good quality information out there. It's not always about being the first sometimes to get information out there. It's about getting, the correct information out
Correct
there.
in quality.
Yeah, exactly. So, listen, I've been doing this 22 years. It's about, promoting kids. And, that's something I've preached from day one. And, like Joe, we met through the Maxwell Club. We're a big part of that. And, it's really exciting. And, to, do all this, and then for us, when we go to these dinners, to see all the coaches and they come back, hey, Joe, thank you for writing an article about this kid or covering our game, or Dave, thank you for promoting our players. That's what we're about. So
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we get too far down the road, I'm gonna go ahead and hopefully figure out how I can share my screen here. Can you see that? No, probably not.
I mean, I see you.
You
So
see me,
Yeah,
huh?
same
yeah.
thing. Same
Yeah,
thing,
all
Bruce.
right. Well, I'm gonna try and share my screen here. Do you see that? No, it didn't give me like my share or whatever like that. But anyway,
No.
um,
Yeah.
we want to thank our sponsor here, Get Recruited Consulting. Andrew Cohen does a great job in, not only us in promoting the kids, but Andrew on a personal approach in getting these kids scholarships. So Get Recruited Consulting .com has been a great part of this program and a lot of other programs. But we had some very interesting games last week. And I think, Joe, I think I'll start, with the game that you were at. I think you did you were at like the Governor Mifflin
Yeah,
Episcopal game, were you not? You got
I was.
indoctrinated to the firestorm that's Nick Singleton.
I did. I did. A very special player, an incredible talent. And as I could say, as is the story of my life, I have a tendency to stumble into things. And I kind of stumbled into this. He has done amazing things. He has or will have by the time he's done. Nick Singleton will own every rushing record in Governor Mifflin history. I
Berks
mean, I
County
just
history. I mean,
yeah, and just blast everything away. But here's something
Mhm.
here that I didn't know, and something that I think Nick didn't even realize until I asked him Friday night when I said, have you ever scored 6 touchdowns in a game before? And he goes, no. And he not only did it, he did it in 1/2.
yeah, right. Yeah, that was the thing. I think the final score of 49-26 really didn't kind of indicate, the level of domination. In fact, didn't he take the opening kickoff back for a touchdown as well?
Took the opening kickoff. Well, here's the twist of it: is Todd Fairley, the Episcopal Academy head coach, is a very good coach, and they knew what they had to do to win this game. Um, and they didn't exactly execute it, but they had a great game plan going in, and they opened the game with an onside kick. Now, I got educated on this. I did not know. I mean, an onside kick has to touch the ground.
Mhm.
It has to touch the ground. And what EA began that game with was this bloop kick that was recovered by Episcopal Academy, only to have a flag thrown, and then a rule that, again, I mean, when you think you know it
I
all,
didn't know that.
well,
I thought it
you know,
only had to go 10 yards.
yeah, well, it did go 10 yards. It did go 10 yards, but it was blooped in the air, and it has to touch the ground.
Yeah.
Huh.
And so EA had to turn the ball over, and lo and behold, they get penalized 5 yards, and the kickoff is right to number 10, who took a step back. His rear foot hit the 17 yard line, the hash mark of the 17, and within seconds, I think it took Nick 11 seconds to go 87. It took him 11 seconds to go 87 yards. Yeah, because I remember the specific time of that score is 11:49, and then it was the Nick Singleton show. I mean, he was exactly what I wrote. This engine of a wave. He was the engine of this wave. You would just see, waves of players go, and at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the wave, there would scoot out Nick for another touchdown again. I think he finished with 308, which I don't, that was a season high, not a career high, but a season high. But the 6 TDs was, according to Nick, and I would like to think Nick would know about this, that it was that's the 6 TDs were a career best. Now, I will say this too. They are on, and I think we all agree here, they are on a collision course with the MOTEP charter. Um, that is that looks like it's going to happen if something else pops up. So that's going to be a very, very interesting game. And
I'm really glad that you got an opportunity to see Governor Mifflin,
mhm.
in the same vein that, I got to see, Imhotep, and that we've seen Imhotep now.
Mhm.
And, as we go down the road and connect these dots, that now, we've got line of sight, inference on what these teams are like.
Yeah, I think right now, from what I see from both teams, that if this is a big key, if Trey McLeod, Imhotep's very, very talented sophomore tailback, if he's healthy, that becomes a very, very interesting game. And edge, the edge may go to. Sorry about that. The edge may go to Imhotep. If I was to turn around and put something on it, I'd say maybe Imhotep's a -2 or -3, only for the fact that you're dealing with you know, two stellar defensive ends in Imhotep and Eni White and Keon Wiley. And they are two game breakers. They are two very, very imposing forces defensively. And they are holding far larger schools to minuscule offensive production. They lost to LaSalle. I was there for that game. Bruce, you were there. But remember how they lost to LaSalle. They lost to LaSalle off of blown coverage.
Yeah,
They lost to
correct. There was a
LaSalle.
fourth quarter drive.
It was a fourth quarter drive where Imhotep left a receiver uncovered, and LaSalle converted for the touchdown late. And by that time, Imhotep had basically run out of gas. I like to think if you got to get Imhotep, get him now rather than later. And a big key here is that Imhotep had a number of guys going both ways. I found it interesting that Nick goes both ways. Nick Singleton.
Yeah, he does. He's actually a very good defensive back too.
Oh, he is. He's just a fantastic Division I football player. I mean, there's multiple reasons why he's going to Penn State, and there's multiple reasons why he's the best. Why he's considered the best tailback in the nation. So it's going to be. It'll be an interesting contest. I mean, Nick is an incredible talent. I don't think he's scoring 6 touchdowns against Imhotep, but I also don't think he's scoring any less than 1. You know, I could see him breaking 1 or 2 or maybe 3 against Imhotep. I mean, that's how good Nick is. But I also see Imhotep creating some problems for Governor Mifflin if or when that game were to take place.
Yeah, Dave, when would that game take place? I mean,
Well,
only in Hershey?
I'm thinking that because I'm looking at last year's bracket. And if I remember correctly, District 12
went out west and then came back.
No,
well,
District 3 played District 7 or played the West.
Yeah, because I think District 12 wasn't in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they were not because of COVID.
Yes.
Even though, well, I'll tell you what, even though St. Joe's Prep was a 6A, and when they won the Catholic League Championship, that was it. There was no city championship to be played because there was Philadelphia Public League had shut down because of the COVID situation. Now, the pub did play, as we all know, the pub did play during the spring, and I saw a pretty good clash. But again, Imhotep had beaten North Penn. I'm sorry, they had beaten Northeast during that spring, during that small schedule in the spring. And those two guys are going to be meeting. I think they're going to be meeting next week. So that'll be an interesting contest when Imhotep plays Northeast. But right now, Imhotep is still they're a very, very good football team. And you know, if that offense turns around and matures a little bit more, they're going to be that much more dangerous. But it's a hell of a clash, and it's going to be definitely worth the price of admission to see Imhotep play.
Well, if this bracket's set up kind of like it would be this year, and if it's District 3-7, you know, that semifinal game was a doozy last year where Pine Richland won in the end against Governor Mifflin 44-41. But what's interesting is Cathedral Prep out of the other bracket had 2 straight forfeits because of COVID and ended up in the state finals. But you have District 1 in that bracket, and I assume District 12 would be probably a sub-regional with a District 2-11, because District 11 also did not play in the 5A bracket due to COVID.
You made some good points there. Is there's so much that was missing from last week's tournament, you know, that will be back this year.
Yeah, but if they would play, it's probably going to be a state championship game, which that's where you would want to see that game played.
That's correct. That's a fantastic matchup.
Absolutely. And you know, they're really you know, nothing on the for whatever reason, you know, District 12 a little bit off week, even though LaSalle had a big win you know, at McDonough or whatever like that. But to me, the single biggest signature win last week was, I mean, Garnet Valley really kind of laying waste to Strathaven. These were 2 undefeated teams going at one another. And Garnet Valley, I tell you what, they're putting their stamp that, you know, and we talked to Mike, you know, Ricci earlier this year. I mean, that team is really playing well.
Yeah, and that's something that, if you recall, Bruce, when I was speaking to Coach Ricky, I foresaw this. I saw them running the board. Now they will be facing a challenge in what was traditionally a powerful school in Ridley. Ridley is not Ridley anymore, but they do have a very good coach and Coach Dave Wood. They run a pretty good program. I'm going to be going there for Eastern PA football on Friday night. 2 undefeated teams. But that is, and I would not be surprised. Mark my words. I would not be surprised again if there's another Garnet Valley blowout. I would not be surprised by that
Really?
at all. Yeah.
Wow.
They're that good. Again, I keep on
But-
saying it, and I'll keep on maintaining it. I see Garnet Valley and North Penn playing each other in the District 1 championship, unless someone else somehow, some way comes out. They are two teams that are going to be on a collision course in District 1 PIAA 6A.
Well, who are you going to pick for player of the week?
That may require a little bit more thought.
See-
Well, we're talking about District 1. We're not talking about Nick
Right,
Singleton.
District 1, 12, right. Nick Singleton's already won the award in District 3, but he played a District 1 game or what have you. I
Well,
mean,
not
but
PIAA.
yeah, right. So, we'll get that from you, as we go along,
Mhm.
In the show. But I think, the game that I think everybody's been pointing to for a long time is the fact that LaSalle and St. Joe Prep are locking horns this week. Mr. Mika, what do you think about this matchup?
I think it's a great matchup. LaSalle, I think they have a tremendous defense, a solid offense. I think Prep is, they had a tough first game against a team from Georgia, but they rebounded pretty well. And, I think this is something that is a preview of probably, the 6A district championship. So will it be a vanilla game that maybe they won't show everything this game and kind of wait knowing that they could play again in about 4 or 5 weeks? We'll see, but I have a feeling this is definitely more of a bigger game for LaSalle than Prep. And I truly believe that these kids are fired up for this game, and it's going to be interesting. But Joe, what's your take on it?
Well, there's a couple of things here, and I keep on bringing it up. I had the pleasure of talking to both Coach Steinmetz and Coach Tim Roken of Prep, and they, as they usually do, kind of with me a little bit. They tried to play it down a little bit here. They both understand the importance of this. They both see maybe another possible future collision between these two teams. And I believe, I'm a firm believer in intangibles and what LaSalle has right now. And if you're going to get Prep, you got to get them now. And Bruce and I spoke about this last week. Samaj Jones, their sophomore quarterback, is still learning and growing. He's shown great progress, but you're dealing with a situation here where LaSalle seniors have never beaten St. Joe's Prep, never.
Mm-hmm.
And that is awfully powerful incentive. That is something there that you just can't ignore, regardless of whatever. That is awfully powerful incentive. I mean, going back here and what I've gathered, it's been 6 years. It's been 6 years since LaSalle has beaten St. Joe's Prep, going back to the Catalytic Red Division Championship of 2015. And I think that was 29, 28 on November 21st of 2015. That's the last time LaSalle has beaten St. Joe's Prep. St. Joe's Prep has a 9-game winning streak against them. They've outscored them by over 200, close to 250 points in that time period. And I mean, they're just crushing this. The history of this game has been so lopsided. I've actually spoken to both Coach Steinmetz and Coach Roken. I haven't seen, at least in the last 6 or 7 years, I haven't seen a close St. Joe's Prep LaSalle game. I think this game has a chance to be close. I think here's the kicker: LaSalle's start. If LaSalle gets off to a good start, and they need a good start, they could turn around and sock St. Joe's Prep in the mouth and have St. Joe's Prep turn around and play catch up. That's the way LaSalle has to win this game. Getting off to that start and having St. Joe's try to climb back into this. Because here's the deal. If Prep gets off to a huge start, Prep's going to run away with this bad boy. And all LaSalle's going to see is smoke in the distance. That's all. They're going to be huffing and puffing and coughing on the smoke that St. Joe's Prep leaves. So that's going to be a big key. That's going to be a gigantic key with this whole game. The atmosphere is going to be fantastic. We're talking about a 3:00, 3:30 start on Saturday at Franklin Field. It's going to have. It's going to be very much a college environment, and I can foresee, because I'm certainly planning on getting there very early. I could see 6,500, possibly 8,000, maybe even 10,000 for this game. Wow, it is that big. It is that impactful. There's gigantic talent on both sides of the ball. But again, you can't discount LaSalle off the fact again, and again, this is a big deal to these guys, very, very much so the seniors, that, stud players, and Bruce and I have had we've had them on the air here. Abdul Carter, the Penn State bound, game breaking, game difference making a linebacker for LaSalle who's going to Penn State. You have powerful back in Sam Brown. Again, a power back that grinds you and winds you down, who's going to Rutgers. So there's a lot of power, and there's a lot of talent that's going to be on that field Saturday, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. But again, it's going to be up to LaSalle to strike the many, many blows to get that lead, to get that 10-0 lead, to get that 21-0 or 17-0, or maybe even 21-0 lead. And forcing Prep into a position that Prep feels uncomfortable with, where they're playing catch up, where suddenly now they have to think a little bit on the field, because again, this is a fairly young Prep team that again is learning and it's growing. And when we saw a few weeks ago, we saw a game that they should have won. They should have beaten Milton from Georgia. They did not, and there were some growing pains that occurred there, but there's been also some growth. I have right now, currently, I have LaSalle as my number one team in Southeastern PA. And I was reminded about that again a couple weeks ago when I went to the Gonzaga Prep game.
A brave man.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said a brave man.
Absolutely. Well, I totally agree with that.
Well, I base it on the fact that LaSalle had beaten a very good MOTEP team, and again, Prep losing to Milton. And also, they chewed up a pretty good team in Gonzaga. But going into that game, Gonzaga was 3-0 against three opponents that had a cumulative record of 1-7, by the way. Yeah. No disrespect meant whatsoever to St. Joe's Prep's victory. No disrespect meant to that. Yeah. But they beat a team the way they're supposed to beat a team. And here's the other thing too is a Prep won that game. Was it 35? I believe it was 35-3.
Yeah,
I think it was 35-3, and
Gonzaga
against Gonzaga. And here's the kicker, and here's the frightening kicker: Prep didn't play that well. I mean, they got off to a 28-0 start, and then after that, I think they got their first down in the second half came in the middle of the fourth quarter. Now, granted, again, it was with a running clock, so you're dealing with a little bit of that, but and that's something there that certainly Coach Roken, I know he addressed, because again, there's a standard at St. Joe's Prep, and that standard is incredibly high. It's interesting we're talking on Monday night. It's interesting we're talking here on the brink of not too far from now. We're going to see an Eagles-Cowboys kickoff. But the St. Joe's Prep is viewed. They are viewed in the area, in the Philly area. They are viewed in the state. They are the Dallas Cowboys. They are the standard, and they know it. And they are everyone's Super Bowl. And come Saturday, they're going to be LaSalle's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's my point exactly. I think that it is LaSalle's Super Bowl. And it's those seniors Super Bowl. And the problem is that okay, this game is for bragging rights, but
That's
it
it.
really
Yeah,
doesn't
it's really,
count.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It really
It's really,
doesn't
yeah.
count. What counts is the game in November.
Mhm.
But yet LaSalle, I think, emotionally has put maybe too much into this game.
Mhm.
And we'll see what happens on the backside. I've seen it happen so many times where
Yeah.
teams, are so emotionally invested in being a team that when it comes down to the next time around, that it just doesn't happen. That's why, quite honestly, I like LaSalle in this game. I like their experience. I like the fact that you know that that St. Joe Prep, does have is still growing, as you've mentioned a couple
Mhm.
times, Joe.
Mhm.
And but I totally agree with you too, that I think that if I think that the whole game revolves around St. Joe Prep's ability to get out in front, and if they don't,
Well,
I think that could
Well, no,
could be
LaSalle's
difficult.
ability, Bruce, LaSalle's ability, because I think Prep can come back. Prep has comeback capabilities. Prep is the
yeah.
kind of team that could be down 10-0, 17-0, 21-0, come back and make it a game and come back and win. I don't know. From what I know, again, my only point of reference is seeing LaSalle against Imhotep. And Bruce, you and I saw the same offense.
Mhm.
That's not an offense capable of coming back. So it's going to be
Mhm.
up to LaSalle to get out to
Mhm.
that great start. It's going to be up to LaSalle
Absolutely right.
to establish a big lead. It's going to be up to LaSalle to again punch St.
Control the
Joe's Prep,
clock.
hit him in the face, and knock them down. Because here's the other deal: is St. Joe's Prep's getting back up again.
Yeah,
They're going
sure.
to turn
Oh,
around, and that's going to be. I'm looking
absolutely
forward to it
right.
because it's going to be a hell of a battle,
Yeah.
and I could see again where if they don't get off to that, if LaSalle does not get off to that start again, as I've been stressing, it could get ugly
Are
because
Mhm.
we actually gonna like pick some scores here? Are we actually gonna,
Well,
or just
I'm
pick some
gonna
teams?
touch a little bit more on this. And I agree with what Joe's saying because this game actually could be you might be playing for that next, game, that next rematch. So if Prep does roll on LaSalle and then they meet, say, for the District 12 6A championship and Prep jumps
well,
out
Catholic League,
to or
Catholic League
Catholic
Red,
League.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So if they jump out to a, 14-21 nothing lead, that might deflate LaSalle
Yeah.
quickly in that game. So this game means a lot because if LaSalle could hang with them or beat them or at least make it close, that will set up for, the rematch.
Yeah, as it always does. In talking to
Mm.
Josiah Trotter, the
Mhm.
outstanding linebacker for St. Joe's Prep, the outstanding junior linebacker for St. Joe's Prep, who just got back from a trip down to Clemson, which is kind of
Mhm.
scary because of, you know, he's Clemson is on Josiah's list. That wasn't the weekend to go to Clemson.
Yeah.
They did not acquit themselves very well this past weekend.
Yeah.
Um, but again, to LaSalle, they're going to get up for the game. They know the importance of the game, but to them, it's a game. It's just a game. But Josiah also brought up an interesting point. He says, we always get rocked on our heels, always, because LaSalle throws something there at us that we haven't seen before. They
Mhm.
throw something at us that we haven't seen from them. They throw something at us that we haven't seen, period. And then we learn and we adjust from that. I mean, they both, how twisted this may sound too, but they actually both benefit from this game. The only difference is right now, if you're St. Joe's Prep and you have not lost to LaSalle since 2015, I kind of tend to believe you want to keep your foot on the throat. And again, like I said, the other side of it, the intangible here with LaSalle, and it's a very, very powerful intangible again, is the fact that these seniors, and they are a very strong, very character
Mhm.
based group of young men that they they this is everything to them. And I know they
Mhm.
have the bigger fish down the line, but again, who's to say Archbishop Wood? I saw them like a clunker a couple of weeks ago against Malvern Prep, but Woods, where you have, we'll call St. Joe's Prep Muhammad Ali, We'll call LaSalle Joe Frazier. We'll call Wood Kenny Norton. They're the X factor in this situation. They are a team that's
Yeah.
capable of beating either team. They're going to have to play as perfect a game as possible, but for LaSalle, they would have the tougher path to go, I would think.
Yeah.
Because I see St. Joe's Prep getting better and better. I see a young team, a talented young team, improving, whereas LaSalle, I kind of think, Bruce, what you and I saw a couple of weeks ago, they may be far closer to their ceiling than St. Joe's Prep is right now.
Oh, I would totally agree with you. I mean, the the new quarterback with the skill positions and that. Look, St. Joe Prep, its strength is with Josiah Trotter in the defense.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly. So it's going to be a close game between LaSalle and St. Joe Prep.
I don't. It depends. Again, LaSalle gets off to that start, it's a close game. St. Joe's Prep gets off to that start.
I don't see St. Joe Prep scoring a lot of points against them. I really don't. I'm just saying, I don't see.
I guess we're going to
First
find
off,
out.
I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game at all. I think it's going to be 17-14, 20-17 tops. I think it's going to be very close and very low scoring because I think the defenses will rule. But like I said, that's why we have these shows to talk about what we think,
Yeah.
and the good part is that, Joe and I have had opportunities to really see both teams, and Dave, I mean, what are your thoughts on what do you think? What do you think the score is?
I think it's going to be a little higher. I think in the end, Prep is going to win this game by 10. So I'm thinking, maybe 28-18, something like that.
Okay. Joe?
Oh, you guys are putting me in a spot. Do I have to predict something, or
you don't have to
I-
predict
You don't.
anything? No, you really don't. Look, Dave put a score. I kind
You
of
know what?
felt
I'm
like,
going to toss a score up there. I'm going to say 35-13.
wow. See, that's just like way over that. There, and look, that's why they play the game. That's why it's going to be
and
interesting.
Bruce, you may be talking to an instrument of that 35-13 final score. Believe me, like I said, I got reminded more than a few times of where things lie. What I do know is the St. Joe's Prep team I saw against Gonzaga can beat any team in the state, any team in the country.
Yeah.
That version. The St. Joe's Prep team that I saw against Gonzaga is the fastest team in southeastern Pennsylvania from every layer of the field, from their defensive line to their linebackers to their defensive backs, certainly on the defensive side. On the offensive side, again, that's coming along and it's progressing. But again, as that unit begins to gel a little bit more and comes more and more together, they are going to be a frightening unit when it all comes together. And who's to say it may not come together this Saturday against LaSalle? There's a lot of incentive there. There's a lot of things going on. There's obviously LaSalle has Abdul Carter. They have Sam Brown.
Yeah.
But St. Joe's Prep has 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 9 or
both
10
teams
Abdul
are
Carters.
enormous.
And
Both
they
teams
have
are
a
so enormously
number
talented.
of Sam Browns. So both teams are equally very, very well coached. But I have that feeling. And a lot of times I hate to say my feelings are correct. I have that feeling that St. Joe's, even though all the incentive and the intangibles may be on the south side, I got a really strong feeling St. Joe's, and that Milton loss stung them and it bothered them. You're dealing with a team that had not lost since 2018, that snapped their 18-game winning streak. You're dealing with a lot of pride there. You're dealing with a team now, and you're dealing with an area now that suddenly there goes doubt about St. Joe's Prep, and they haven't had to deal with very much doubt because again they've been the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs and
Absolutely
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
right.
all wrapped up.
I
in
think
one.
that
They've
it
been
brings in
everyone's
a
Super
little bit
Bowl.
of doubt, and these are young players on St. Joe Prep.
Yeah, and now suddenly that's there, and the St. Joe's Prep that I'm used to seeing and the St. Joe's Prep that I'm used to seeing from Coach Tim Roken, is a team that actually rises to those challenges, and that's where I'm going with this. In the first few minutes, it's going to be a very intense, very incredibly hard hitting game. And again, a big key to this is LaSalle's start. I don't think, again, I got to base things on what I see and what I saw. LaSalle has a fantastic defense, but I also see St. Joe's Prep as a team that can wear them down. I could see this game being close for a half going into the second half, and then St. Joe's basically hitting the gas and saying bye-bye. That's just the way I see it. I just
sure.
Yeah. Everything's going to everything that's going to matter is LaSalle getting off to a huge beginning.
Dave, what do you think? I mean,
No, I agree with
you
everything.
obviously have said that St. Joe Prep's gonna win this game, going away.
Well,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I think it could be a 10-point win. I agree 100% that I think it's going to be close up into the third quarter. And then, hey, again, high school kids, you get a turnover here and there. And next thing you know, you got that 10-point lead.
Well,
so for LaSalle to win, I think they need to keep it a low score like what you said. Okay.
Well,
look, I think LaSalle is battle tested in the fact that they've had close games. They required, a gut check fourth quarter drive against Imochep Charter to pull that game out. I think that speaks volumes to what that team is about. I also think it speaks volumes of the fact.
Bruce, that was an Imhotep Charter team that plays a lot of players two ways. They play their stars two ways. Those guys were pretty much bagged by the end of that game. St. Joe's Prep doesn't have that problem. St. Joe's Prep has they have a two platoon system. They're going to be very fresh. They're going to be very, very energized. And I think they're here's what I base things on. I base things on overall team speed. And I saw the Prep team that I saw against Gonzaga was far faster than LaSalle. And again, like I said, LaSalle's blessed with a very, very good coaching staff, and they're blessed with Abdul Carter, and they're blessed with Sam Brown. But again, Prep has 4 or 5 Abdul Carters. Prep has 7 or 8 Sam Browns, and the thing that's frightening is they're all juniors and sophomores. St. Joe's Prep, they're not seniors.
And I think that therein lies the issue. Can those underclassmen rise up? I mean, are they going to grow up fast?
They have, and they continually have. I mean, you're dealing with a Josiah Trotter who's a junior who has layers upon layers upon layers.
I'm not concerned about the defense. I'm concerned more about their offense. I think that are the offensive talent that they have, and they are talented. Okay. Is that offensive talent going to rise up? Okay. Untested really in this kind of game situation. I think that therein lies the issue for me.
Well, size wise, they were pretty much tested against Gonzaga, and Samaj Jones had a hell of a game. He played very, very well, very well. Barlow is back and he's healthy. He's we'll call him the Darren Sproles of St. Joe's Prep's offensive running attack. The young man Washington, the wide receiver, is beginning to come into his own a little bit more and more. So again, once these pieces all come together, and they've been gradually coming together, and I also this is huge. A couple of things here. St. Joe's Prep's coming off a week where they were off, where LaSalle is they've been playing, and that's always been by design. Coach Gabe Infante has always taken off that week prior to going into the Catholic season, and that's a huge help to them, I believe. That's going to help St. Joe's Prep turn around and gather and understand this offense even more.
That's why we play the games.
Yeah. And I think moving forward too is if LaSalle or Wood were in any other district, there would be a chance you would see, those teams playing each other for state titles.
And I find that to be so unfair. And I've said it a number of times that the concentration of the 6A teams in District 1 and District 12. I think it's just unfair to those teams, that literally for basically having the majority of 6A programs, that they get the same amount as like a team like the WPIL has like only 8 6A teams, yet they get, a District 1 who has 30 teams, they get one. That just doesn't seem fair to me.
Well, District 12 has been going out to the western side of the state and then having to come back.
Yeah.
So that's the way the format's been for the last 3 years now.
Yeah. So
and that's for 6A, 5A. So.
It's going to be pretty interesting. I'm glad you're going to be there, Joe, because I mean, are you going to be at the game Saturday?
Yeah.
You're coming, Dave. You'll be at prep. You'll be at the Franklin Field.
No, I won't, but you will. I know
you will. You're going to be there, right?
Yeah.
So, and listen, before I forget here too, we had a player of the week, which I'd like to turn around and give to. There's a young man that had a pretty nice game for Episcopal Academy's a junior tailback, TJ Cadden, who took an 85-yard kickoff return for a TD in the second half of the game against Governor Mifflin. He's a junior. The scary thing is, I coached his dad. I coached TJ's dad. But the kid, I thought TJ has a younger brother. They're both very good football players. But the way they play, I thought there was 4 of them on the field because they're all over the place. And there's only 2 of them. So so our player of the week is going to go to Episcopal Academy's junior tailback, TJ Cadden, who had a hell of a game both offensively and defensively against Episcopal Academy. I'm sorry, he's an Episcopal Academy junior against Governor Mifflin.
Yeah, great. Well, that is it's going to be another big week in District 12 and District 1. All the action going on. We're going to have to get you involved here more, Dave Mike. I know that you're a busy man, but
the Micah man.
I know, but I really enjoyed it. I really did.
No, I had a good time, and before I go, I would love to touch on the right now could be the biggest game in Pennsylvania this weekend.
Right.
And that's
Southern
Columbia, who's number 1 in AA, has the win streak, and a lot of people have Wyomissing number 1 in AAA, and Southern wins this. I think they tie Clareton, with the most wins in a row. And I truly believe if they can win this game, they're going to run the table. You talk about their star athlete, Gavin Garcia. I mean, this kid's never lost a game. He's won 3 straight state titles. Obviously, his goal is to go undefeated and win the 4th, but this is a big hurdle for Southern Columbia. And, you have 2 like wing T type offenses. And I was kind of looking at the stats of the quarterbacks, and they're pretty similar. They don't throw a lot. They both are in the 300s. It seems like they both kind of take, good care of the ball.
Dave, I apologize for interrupting. Dave, where does Southern Columbia sit right now? Because here they have a 60-game winning streak. I believe it's 66 games held by Clareton.
I think they're 65, right, Bruce?
Yeah. No, I'm looking at it here. It's 66. It's 66 going from 2009 to 2013. As I'm looking at the Gavin Garcia story that I did for Eastern PA football. So it's 66. So if they get off to a 7-0 start, that would become the state all-time record.
That would break their, yes.
Okay.
And listen, big hurdle to do. The difference is Southern, obviously they're going to throw Garcia, West Barnes, they're 2 talented runners. But the difference is, you have a Wyomissing team that's going to throw 8-10 guys at you. And those guys are going to be fresh. They have a tremendous tight end, big guy, that's going to, I think, create a lot of trouble for Southern. And Wyomissing, I mean, their one lineman, he's getting all those offers. This is probably their biggest challenge not only, this season, but I think in a few years that this is probably their biggest game. Unfortunately, they didn't get the play at Wyomissing last year because of COVID, but two tremendous teams. I'm glad it's later in the season. It's not week one. These teams have games under their belt, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of good games in the state, but this is the one I think is going to draw even a lot of national attention, because if Southern can win, like I said, I think they're just going to run the table and just demolish this win streak record.
Dave, Southern Columbia again is a District 11.
District 4.
For
District
District 4.
Double A.
Elysburg.
Yep. Knobles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I can say is that from a guy who lives in Reading,
Mhm.
enormous amount of pride for the fact that Wyomissing School District adjoins to Governor Mifflin. Okay,
Yeah.
these are two school districts that are right next to one another.
Mm.
Two
Yep.
powerhouse programs in the state of Pennsylvania. Literally, the schools only being, I don't know, I can drive between the two in 2 minutes.
Wow.
I mean, so there's an
Wow.
enormous sense of pride here.
Well,
Look, it's incredible. It's incredible how great Wyo's come back.
Yeah, and again, two quality teams in District 3 that
And let me
I
hang on
think,
for a second. Why missing?
yeah,
That is the home of the great Ross Tucker.
It is.
yes,
It is.
I wonder.
it
You know
is.
what? I
And
wouldn't be
Alex
surprised. No Ross.
Anzalone. Well,
I wouldn't be
Alex
surprised if he's there.
Anzalone, who plays for the Detroit Lions, who played on their state championship team,
Yeah.
as well. So I mean,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, Wyo, small little school. I mean, one of these days, Joe, I got to take you over to the A field for a game. It's like none other you will ever experience.
Oh yeah, it's really neat.
Incredible, and I won't ruin going to the game, but going to the A field for a game on a Saturday afternoon, pretty special.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, when obviously this is everything for Southern Columbia. The win streak, to keep that alive. Obviously, it's a big game for Wyomissing. Great program. You're talking two tremendous programs.
Heavyweights, man. Just like the boxing analogy, you got a couple of heavyweights like slugging it out in the middle of the ring, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal, though. Too is if Southern Columbia gets by them, they have Central Columbia, which is right now 2-3. So this is Dave. This is it for them.
Yeah, if they could win
this ties
game,
the record. This ties the record, but essentially, let's be realistic. Please, no disrespect meant to the other school, but
absolutely,
Central Columbia is not going to beat Southern Columbia. Let's be realistic with one.
I think Wyo has more of a tussle once they get into the PIAA, because North Schuylkill out of District 11 is somebody that they're going to have to eventually go through. Who's really, I mean, difficult. Notre Dame Green Pond. I think 3A is much more of a landmine than 2A will be for Southern Columbia to get to Hershey.
Yeah, and just looking at the 2A, the statewide rankings, Southern's number one, but looking at it, the only other Eastern team is ranked 10th is York Catholic. And you have Conwell, Egan, Mount Carmel, and Northern Lehigh. Okay, no disrespect to any of those programs, but if Southern Columbia gets by Wyomissing, they're going to run the table. They'll get to Hershey and probably play maybe a District 7, District 10 team.
Yeah, maybe Sarah Catholic. That's my dark horse out of District 7.
Okay, but I just wanted to throw this out. I know this is more of a District 112 show, but this is a huge game. And, Joe, you've had the pleasure to cover Southern
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
at Hershey
And Hershey,
and,
sure.
and, Wyomissing here and there.
Right.
So this is, this is a big game,
He's not, let's just say he's pretty familiar with both teams.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Oh, listen, how is it Central York? Who's the team that played St. Joe's Prep again in the
Yeah,
state
Central
It was
York.
Central
Yeah.
York. Yep.
Yeah.
How are they doing this year?
Yeah,
I'm
they're
just
doing
curious.
very well. They're undefeated. They've had
Mhm.
I think they had a COVID game last week.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that.
they
So,
couldn't play.
but
Yeah,
they're playing well. Bull Perbula, who's going to Penn State,
Mhm.
having a killer year so far.
Okay.
Yeah, I think their tough schedule is in their conference schedule coming up.
yeah,
And that they're going to play York High, who
really
actually
good.
who got whacked by Governor Mifflin the first week of the season.
Yeah,
So
but they're a good team.
they
Yeah,
are a very good team. I mean, they're going to be right in it. I would say right now that they would be the favorite in District 3 and 6A to repeat.
Mhm.
We'll see how they
Well,
go once they
I
get into
think
PWA.
Harrisburg might have something to say with that, but that's another story.
I
I
know,
know, I
right?
know.
Exactly. I
But
know. That's why we play
they'll
the
be in the
game.
playoffs. Well, they didn't get a chance to play last year, and I think Harrisburg would feel that if you're gonna win that district, it's gonna have to go through them. So we'll
Yeah,
see. But
yeah. It's
listen, I've had a blast here tonight, and I hope to be on more. And it's great talking. Joe's got two tremendous games this weekend to cover, so excited to read his articles and see the outcome of those games.
Yeah, I've got a good game too. I mean, Penn Manor, kind of a
Yes.
resurgent program out of the Lancaster Lebanon League. They're playing Wilson. They've never beaten Wilson, so there's a lot of storylines. That's the game that I'll be streaming, and then I'll figure out a place to go on Saturday to cover a
Nice.
game too. So, gentlemen, hey, listen, it's always a pleasure. Hey,
Thank
this was
you.
a great job here on Pre-Snap Look, and we'll definitely bring we'll definitely bring Mike in more often.
Who?
All right, I'm Bruce Badgley for Dave, Micah, and Joe Santoliquido. Take care, man. We'll see you on the flip side. So long.
Have a great day.